Hey guys, welcome back. This is Snazzy, your all-time favorite. Today we are gonna see what if Goku and Ace changed Dragon Ball forever. So let's move on to the video. I feel bad for Bulma. By now Yamcha crashed the ship and Bulma gets her ankle sprained. But them is the breaks I can fix. Goku and I had returned home to Mount Paozu to gather things to go other to Master Roshi. Well, more Goku going to pack. I had my duffel bag with my stuff in it, Rakure, my black tab and my bike. All I needed was a change of clothes. I now wore a black G tied with an orange belt around my waist. The sleeves were torn and I realized I pretty much looked a lot like a Akuma. The only thing was my hair. My hair was spiked but mostly black. I only had a small bit of red in my hair. And there was the fact I wore stylish high-top sneakers. It is a guilty pleasure. Goku came down his futon and put it on the Nimbus. We were off for Roshi's after I made a quick stop at Aru village for capsules. Yeah, apparently they made Oolong's mansion into a brothel. Oh boy. Either way, we arrived on Roshi's island. I knew the old man was watching his exercise videos and I walked right in the door. Yo old man. I yelled, getting the man out of his daze. Oh Ace, Goku. Well, this is quite the surprise. Finally here for training? Roshi asked. We are, but we'll help ourselves to food first. I said hungrily. Roshi waved us off and we raided the fridge. I should control myself better, but I was really hungry. By now, Krillin is on his way here and Bulma is probably lost somewhere. Ace was right, but not exactly. Bulma was lost, but her luck was rather rotten. While in the desert with Yamcha, a sand eagle swooped down and picked up Bulma before dropping her. This injured her other ankle and poor chances as because he broke her fall. I bet if Ace was here, he'd see that coming and kicked that bird's ass. Oolong sneered. Screw you. Yamcha yelled. Besides, we're going south instead of north. Oolong said, pointing out the obvious signs that he was right. Oolong had taken a certain role to honor his friend, Ace. The team smartass/jackass. Oolong couldn't help but snigger doing this. All while this was going on, a teen was speeding along the desert. In the process, getting Yamcha, Bulma and poor Kansas caught in a sandstorm. Oolong seemed to be the lucky bastard today. Maybe the universe decided to cut him a break. I knew Roshi was going to rope Goku into getting him a girl, and I also knew that would actually take a while, unlike in the show. So, I decided to go a bit of adventuring of my own, taking off on Kageyama. I probably had at best 3, maybe 4 hours before Goku returns to Roshi with that muscular woman. What to do though? Tempting as it was to go find Bulma and help her out, I decided against it. I was riding along on road thinking on which I pulled to the stop. Launch? I almost forgot about her. I made the mental note to have her stick ahead. Considering Canon really screwed her over, I could take her as a girlfriend. No. I think I'd rather get her and Tien together. They almost did in canon, so why not? But seeing that dealing with Tien was a saga away, I had ample time to get where Master Roshi couldn't. Yes, I've decided to troll Roshi now. Why? Come on, tell me you don't think he deserves it. Either way, I was off to Brown Country and I had to pass through Mushroom Forest. Turns out, Launch wasn't at Brown Country yet, and was in the neighboring town. The same town where that antique store guy sold fake Dragon Balls. The town's name, Antique Town. Fitting. As I cruise through, I find Launch. She's robbing some guy in an alley. If I had to guess, this guy probably hit on good Launch and she sneezed. Poor bastard. I sat back and watched as Launch finished robbing the guy. I sadly had to knock him out after she left to prevent him from getting law enforcement. I followed from a distance to find Launch at the edge of town fiddling with her bike, the escargot. Launch was planning to head back to Brown Country for more robberies there. It was right then that Ace rolled up on Kageyama. Launch, being arrogant, whipped her machine gun at Ace's face to rob him. Ace gave a blank stare because he knew he lived in a world like a bullet is pretty much the most ineffective and worthless weapon in this world. It was the blank stare that said seriously, "What are you, deaf?" Launch said before Ace smacked the machine gun to the ground. "No. I just don't feel like giving you my valuables. However, I see you got a nice bike there. How about we race instead?" Ace offered, leering at her. "Oh please, like your piece of shit bike can beat mine," Launch said to him, getting back her machine gun. Ace would have strangled anyone for insulting the bike but let it go. He was playing at her arrogance. "So you got nothing to lose then?" Ace said, still leering down at Launch's figure. He never noticed how close she teetered between athletic and slim. He wondered if Launch was two beings and how their body types would be more different. "Perverted gawky," Launch said as Ace looked up. "I'll take you on. If you win, I'll give you the honor of seeing what's under these clothes. If you lose, I'll help myself to your money." The offer was what Ace hoped for. Ace even waved a stack of 100 zini bills in a neat wad. "You re-on, blondie." "Where to?" Ace asked. "There's a place between this shithole and brown country, Corkscrew Canyon. We'll race through there," Launch said, getting her escargot. "Know where it is, cocky?" Ace got up his black tab and quickly located the place. "I do now," Ace said. Then Launch had an early start, taking off, covering Ace and Kageyama in dust. Considering Launch was going to play dirty, I had every intention to play just as dirty. With Black Tab as my GPS, I take many shortcuts to quickly catch up to Launch. I ride out one the caverns, landing next to Launch, shocking her. "Miss me, blondie?" I teased before taking off ahead. I laugh hearing her let loose a torrent of swears, and it's kind of funny. With swears, she reminds me of a proto version of Revy from Black Lagoon. Either way, I don't let Launch catch up using the shortcuts whenever she passed me to get back in front. In the end though, I won. I had to wait for Launch to come out. "I guess your bike ain't shit." "Well, I'll just take it," she said, aiming her machine gun. "Go on and fire," I said, unsheathing Rakure. She began to fire bullets after me and I raised my sword. With a bit of thought, the sword's metal grew cold as ice, letting off cold air. Twirling it like a baton basically blocked all of the bullets, even freezing some of them. Launch swapped to a pistol, but I let the bullet hit me. It was just two show bullets, one to work on me, and it falls to the ground. "How the hell is that possible? I shot you point blank and you're not even in pain," Launch said, shaking. "Bitch please, I've been shot at with a Mach 11 and walked away barely scratched. Your firearms aren't going to do nothing to me." "Rakure is another story," I said, raising the blade up at her. "Seems the sword connects to my emotion before it grew heated and glowed red." Launch was showing some actual fear, and I think she was understanding that I was something not to be messed with. I looked down on the time and I realized I needed to get back. "Well, today's your lucky day. I need to go. I'll collect my favor from you another day. We'll see each other real soon," I said, taking off on Kageyama. It took about 20 minutes to get back to Roshi's Island. I had to burn out most of my boosters to speed back there. I returned Kageyama to its capsule to find Goku just left with the muscular woman. "Roshi, I am back," I said, dusting myself off. I entered Kame house and tossed my duffel bag on the couch before coming back outside. "Ace, my boy, you seem to have some training under your belt, even more than Goku. I see it from the way you carry yourself," Roshi said to me. "Let us just say there's a lot to me no one knows, but I prefer to keep it like that," I said, leaning back against the wall of the house. On the sea, Krillin is sailing on the boat in the same ocean en route for Roshi's Island. Goku soon returned with another girl, a mermaid. Roshi was inside cooling off, but Ace was outside. The mermaid was a beauty. Pale skin, dark purple hair, green eyes and tail, and wore only a red pai t-shirt. She had to be pure considering she is able to ride the Nimbus. Goku was going off on his way to get Roshi and Ace decided to talk to her. I apologize ahead of time for what is about to happen. Miss? Ace said, gesturing to learn her name. Damala. She said to me. And why you are apologizing? You see, my pervert of a martial arts master want to touch my bro there and like he brings him a girl to ogle and worse. My bro there is a bit dense and innocent, completely unaware of this. I am telling you because I'd rather not see my master make you uncomfortable or worse violate you. Ace said, taking her hand. Damala blushed, charmed by Ace's nobility, and even didn't mind Ace's own bit of ogling. Roshi came out hearing from Goku the girl didn't wearing panties to see it as really was a mermaid. Roshi was in his best suit and turtle shell and he approached Pamela. However, before Roshi could say anything, Pamela smacked him upside his head, her tail leaving a big red mark on Roshi's face. Dirty old man. Manipulating your students to do your dirty work. Have you no shame? Pamela scolded. Then she called out a piece of paper and a pen out her shirt that were dry for some reason. She began to scribble down something on it before giving it to Ace. Here Kati, there's an address for you to visit and a number to call. Thanks again. Pamela said before whispering in Ace's ear. And maybe I'll let you do more than look. Ace went red as Pamela drove back into the ocean. Holy shit, I got her number. Woohoo! Ace said, breaking out into a jig. Roshi didn't know whether to be mad at him or impressed by his charms on women. Ace found this to be quite the good day so far. He had a woman's phone number and an address to explore. Goku, please find a girl with legs. Roshi said with his face still stinging. Krillin showed up just like he did in canon. It was humorous to see all this unfold, especially with the dirty magazine bit. I hung back to let the banter between Goku and Krillin form before introducing myself. Neat sword. Krillin complimented. Thanks, I killed Ratanko for it. I said with a smirk. Wait, the bear thief of the Kuma mercenary clan? Krillin exclaimed. That guy is a legend. Oh please, didn't he take that much effort? I said, still smirking. Either way, you'll have to help Goku here find a girl for Roshi. He is a bit of a tool. Krillin tried to hop on the Nimbus but fell flat on his face. I told him to hold on to Goku to stay on, and I still don't get how that workaround is possible. Nevertheless, I got on Kageyama and took off after them. I was going to see launch again. At the same time as Ace, Goku, and Krillin have been on their manner to find a girl for Roshi, or in Ace's case, getting in position, someone had woken from up a snooze. The innocent blue-haired launch awoke having sneezed in her sleep. All over again, she simply had no series of what came about the last few days. This became her life. Release were given up to test to peer she became this time. She was hoping it wasn't jail. She had the ugly joy of waking as much as a fellow convict groping her in her sleep. She observed herself in a reasonably priced lodge room, a great deal to her relief. I don't even recognize wherein I am this time. Launch said, getting dressed. She located a duffel bag and of root it was full of cash. Launch could most effective desire she failed to kill everyone getting that cash. Taking the duffel bag, she left the inn room buying it of direction. Launch went for the closest bar wanting to get a drink. The moment she entered, all and sundry tensed up. Brown United States feared release. She did have a 2 million zeni bounty. However, that turned into the blonde release. They realized this girl wasn't the vicious thug and again too regular. Napo decided to give by her a drink to hit on the new girl. Too awful, a bee flew over her nostril to get her to sneeze. 30 seconds later, horrific Launch walked out the bar and spat at the ground. The bar was on fireplace and he had extra cash in the bag. Napo made the error of seeking to fight terrible Launch. Not like Cannon, Bad Release used a grenade to shove down the terrible bastard's throat before pumping him full of lead. Properly, higher move, rob the shit out of something before I leave this unload for good. Perhaps a teach. Launch stated, throwing out her tablet for her escargot and setting out for the railroad tracks. Seeing the educate coming, she pulled a pin on every other grenade and dropped it on the railroad son. The explosion derailed the educate. So Launch coolly stole the valuables and bolted, leaving law enforcement officials after her. Fucking pigs, can T just piss off? She swore. The most effective motive the cops could not land the shot changed into because the universe deemed her crucial to live. That, and they went to the Stormtrooper Academy for aiming. Along with her remaining grenade, she blew up a cop vehicle, killing the officer internal. He turned into a grimy cop unbeknownst to Launch. In the rock formations, Release tried to lose them, however hit a loose stone, sending her off her bike and safely into the soft dirt. Her motorcycle spun out, and the law enforcement officials arrived. Horrific. Launch was on a Karma Houdini roll because she sneezes and exact Release took over, which her hair again to blue form. Launch, you low life whinge, you re underneath arrest. One cop said in heavy southern accessory. Once we strip CQ of root. The two other cops with him with smiling heavily. Launch screamed out in terror, and up got here Ace on Kageyama with Goku and Krillin. Ace had heard that southern pinnacle and without delay punched him into a rock formation, letting the falling rocks kill him. Goku fought off the two different cops even as Krillin concealed. You all proper, Release? Ace asked. Yeah, I am best. But do I realize you? Launch asked him. Do not worry about that. We ought to get you out of here. Final issue we want is a pretty innocent face such as you in jail. You can take the cloud. Badass monk can journey with me. Ace stated, motioning to the cloud. And sure Goku, she's natural. Release climbed onto the cloud after returning the bike into its tablet and taking the duffel bag with her. Krillin came out of hiding and had to trip back seat with Ace. Next time there is a combat. Do not punk out on us, man. Ace said, truly. Certain. Sorry, it is simply I, Krillin said, seeking to keep face. Never mind. Ace was in concept. With blonde Release tamed, I might have a 2-for-1 deal. I always neglect how lovely she was. And with my knowledge, I'll be faucet dancing around Roshi. Ace concept. Allow us just get back to Erosen in his vicinity. Ace said back to Krillin. Krillin sniggered at the nickname and Release had a small chortle. Who is Erosen Nin? Launch asked. Grasp Roshi. We are taking you to his island. Goku stated. And there it smiles. Are her nicely technically criminals again to Roshi. Goodness, it is so secure. Launch stated, admiring the residence. Hi there, old timer, you around? Goku said from outdoor. Goku, cross internal and get him. In all likelihood at the can. Ace said, rolling his eyes. I'll tell him to get off the pot. Goku stated, going internal. Forgive the ones, they may be poorly knowledgeable. Krillin said to Release. Ace grabbed Krillin with the aid of the collar and glared at him. Listen to me, Krillin. I am no idiot. Except, I have a college degree in computer technological know-how, ya bastard. Ace said, crossing his palms. I did not recognize. Krillin said with a shrug. Sorry about the disrespect, although. Why did you convey me right here? Is there something you can do? Launch asked. Krillin turned into going to stay a person, but I finished him. Essentially, our grasp desires a housekeeper and she had to be a younger woman suitable for companionship, why understand? Ace said to her. It really is perfect. This is because I am being perused. Launch said. Perused? With the aid of those fakers in police wear. Krillin mused. No, the ones were real police. I probably killed one. Launch here is a wanted crook, however the seize is when she sneezes she adjustments personalities. Ace defined. Wait, what? Krillin asked, stressed. How did all this? Launch requested. Research. I have collected a database of many stuff on this world. Except you are perfect for the process. Allah simply say you will deliver karma. Ace stated with a darkish undertone. So she in reality changed into a criminal? Krillin requested. She needs to be some heiress or something. Quit pulling my leg right here. Grasp Roshi in the end got off the can to scope the lady they added. He became very impressed eyeing each details. Ace wasn't he going to permit him even get close. Roshi kicked open the window being a dynamic access. My boys, you've got performed it. Roshi said with glee. Krillin leaned in to whisper to Roshi, her face is a chunk on the girly side, however the relaxation is well instead developed. I take delivery of the two of you as my disciplines. Roshi said. Yo Iro-sen-nin, you forgot approximately me. Ace stated annoyed. Roshi twitched on the nickname and apologized for not mentioning Ace. The vintage grasp greeted Launch and Launch thanked him for sending out his grandsons to help her out. No, they may be now not my grandson. They read by means of little brothers. Roshi gestured. Ace smacked him with Goku's pole for that earlier than all of us else fell over. Roshi dismissed it as a joke and defined he was simply teaching the three boys the Kame Ryu, Turtle College preventing fashion. It is a wonder they re so robust. Launch said with a chuckle. Ace stated you needed a housekeeper. I'd like to stay with you guys if I am not too much problem. You are no trouble in any respect. Roshi stated looking over at Ace with a grin. Roshi broke into a dance and Ace made the provide to release to educate her self-defense. Roshi had made the equal provide. Krillin performed up the fame card round Roshi and the turtle hermit give her the uniform to exchange into. Now as my threat. I stopped Launch. In which are my manners? I should show you the visitor room so that you can change. I stated taking her hand to guide her interior. Iro-sen-nin changed into pissed at me but I failed to care. I used to be nevertheless trolling him. I lead release upstairs and she went and modified into the undies. I failed to trade into the jet up, but all I was wondering changed into how the hell did Roshi have them in Goku and Krillin sizes. I instead not assume on that. Why are not you in the uniform? Roshi asked me. I leaned in and say, I realize this isn't the uniform and I do not want to appear like a crossdresser, Iro-sen-nin. Release got here out and I needed to admit that she looked great inside the underwear. Maybe I may want to get bad release to put on it any other day. Master Roshi, I suppose that is underwear. Release stated to him. It really is because it as far. I muttered beneath my breath. Then I noticed the wasp. I determined to had something smart. I informed Goku to go exchange and back away from Roshi and Krillin. He doesn't release is ready to sneeze because of the wasp. Hurry, you need to run. Launch stated earlier than sneezing. In which the hell am I? Launch stated looking around. I am not in jail. She looked down at what she become sporting and blushed bright crimson. Launch turned into a tough girl but nevertheless a woman. What the hell? Launch stated evident at Roshi and Krillin. Good enough, boys. Whose idea became this? One address me like a doll. Properly then please do not forget the mother thing accessory device gun. The blonde release shot up Roshi and Krillin with Goku getting nailed by means of stray bullets. I raised Rakure to her throat and she appears over to look me. Do not forget after I stated we meet again, I was proper on the cash, wasn't I? I requested with a smirk. You? Release said spooked. How the hell did you find I blow dirt in her face to get her to sneeze and trade again? Innocent Release returns to place away the device gun and make an apology asking if all and sundry become hurt. Nope. They may live. I said with a bit of laughter. Welcome to the Dragon Ball gang. Canon occurred once again and we were heading to Training Island where I realized that Pamela actually didn't be too far from said island according to the address. I had plans to train harder than Goku and Krillin combined. Roshi's power level is 139 according to Daisen Shu 7, and so I aim to have one at 200 or higher. Goku came down from scoping out the island and Roshi informing him there's 300 people living on this island. We'll have fun training boys, I'll start making dinner. Launch said entering came house to cook. Thank you Launch. Master Roshi said turning to us. I already knew Goku has been training with Gohan. But what about you and Ace? I've trained for 8 years at Orin Temple in the East. Krillin said. Me? I've spent about most of life training under my parents. Kung Fu, Judo, street fighting, meditating, and Ki control among others. I said counting them off. Roshi seemed impressed and implored as to who my parents were. I remarked that it isn't my place to say. What I actually meant was I wasn't telling. Moving on Roshi, he gave us the 100 test. Krillin got 10.4 telling Goku to beat it. Because I got Goku new shoes earlier, Goku ran at 8.5 seconds. Krillin was stunned. I insisted Roshi go next claiming I had to be inspired. Well I am impressed Ace. But you all are still within human limits. In order to become a master of martial arts, you must break the wall of humanity. That is the challenge. Roshi said dropping the turtle shell on his back. I knew it was weighted like the bands on my legs and arms. Roshi jet across the ground giving Krillin the stopwatch to which he reported 5.6 seconds. Well Roshi, I am ready. I said getting into position. I focused my ki into my legs and took off speeding. My run style took influence from the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog trying to make a figure 8 in my run. I finished my dash and Krillin clocked me 6.5 seconds. Seems I even caught Roshi off guard. The weights I wore were only a mere 10 pounds each. Without them, I'd hit 6 seconds flat possibly. Well Ace, you're not bad at all. I accept since you all are young, you'd be under 5 seconds. You came close my bow. Roshi said crossed arms. Now Goku grab me a beer. Roshi asked. What is a beer? Goku said. I'll get it. I remarked. Roshi was telling Goku about getting an education when I walk inside. I find Launch cooking away and a ladybug flies my nose. She sneezed and bad Launch is back. She took one look at the get-up she was now in. A dress and apron. Looks good on you. I said opening the fridge and getting a beer. If it was any other guy, Launch would have attacked, but she knew I don't play. Launch just blushed and thanked me. Then I remember she had to chase Krillin and I had an idea. Hey Launch, Roshi needs a favor. He needs you to chase Krillin with a knife to get to run faster. I said raising 100 zeni bill. Launch snatched it to put it away and chased after Krillin with the knife. Thankfully she sneezed before she got too close. If I was on fanfictions, I'd probably have someone say, Aki's a dick to a canon character. Thing. Now that it was dusk, we had the stone test to deal with something about stamina. I know how this was going to go, so I sit and do nothing. Roshi asked me why I wasn't going. Because Sen Nin, I can bring the rock to me with my mind. Plus, if you let me do this, I'll let you have this picture I drew of bad Launch in lingerie. I said pulling out the drawing out from my tunic. Roshi took it and went inside probably to enjoy that picture in private. I proceed to meditate and I can see the events unfold. Krillin was coming back with the fake stone and I smirked at him. Krillin would come out with a bruise on his head holding the fake stone in his hand. Dumbass. I mutter under my breath. Krillin glared at me and I said, you are not going to win with trickery. Even if you do, karma will punish you for it. There is no such thing as karma. Krillin said to me before storming off. I keep meditating with a few breaks to work on upgrading Kageyama. Krillin returns with the real stone and I roll my eyes. So, Goku and I weren't eating dinner, but I didn't care because I had no plans to eat the pufferfish. As soon as Krillin and Roshi eat the meal, I stop Launch. Ace, what is wrong? Launch asked me. That as pufferfish, that fish is completely poisonous and apparently gives you the violent shits. You would have been on the toilet all night. I warned. You dick Okami, my stomach. Krillin said, grasping his stomach in pain. His face was blue and so was Roshi's. I didn't know, Krillin, until just now. But it is karmic punishment for you. I said, lying through my teeth. I take Launch's hand and say, now you rest easy and I'll get you, me and Goku something to eat. Launch giggled and happily agreed to it. Roshi looked jealous, but he and Krillin had a date with a toilet. I checked my black tab and it turns out the island had a pizza place. You and Goku hang tight, I am going into town to see their restaurants. I said, getting my green hoodie out of my duffel bag to put on. I'll make sure to bring meat, Goku. Okay, Ace. Goku said to me as I got Rakure on my person. I left the house and hopped on Kageyama. I had upgraded the bike to use my own ki as a secondary source of fuel. Putting my hands on the handlebars, I channeled a bit of ki into the bike. The clear plastic linings now glowed a bright green. It had worked. Now let us go, I said, revving it before I took off. A true rocket my bike was, and it even left a sick green light trail. Roaming through town, I find the place rather quaint. Though, I wonder what Bulma and the crew is up to. Bulma, Oolong, Kansas, and Yamcha were just getting off a private jet thanks to Bulma, who was able to get to a city to call for a ride. Now, Yamcha was hurrying off for a nearby dojo to train, leaving Bulma alone with Kansas and Oolong. Damn it. I don't mind him training, but he couldn't take care of my needs. Bulma said, flustered. I can help, Bulma. Oolong said lewdly. Oolong's luck was back to being bad as Bulma punted him across the tarmac with Kansas looking on. Bulma was secretly wishing Ace was here. Damn it, I could use a good lay now, Bulma thought. So, I wind up at a pizza place, Gemstone Pizza. It is a local joint. I go inside and I had to control myself to not drop my jaw. I noticed two kids, possibly no older than 6, maybe 7. But I damn well recognized those icy blue eyes. Android 17 and 18. Well, at this point, Lapis and Lazuli. I didn't even know they lived here. Lapis was balancing a soccer ball on his head and Lazuli was playing with an octopus doll. They were so cute. Lazuli turns to see me. Oh hi, welcome to our family's pizza. I haven't seen you around. You? Lazuli said to me. It was so bizarre. Lazuli was cheerful and basically normal. But what little I did know, they grew up to be delinquents. I didn't want to think about how though. So out came their aunt, who greeted me and took my order. Apparently, these two are staying with relatives while their parents are well being complete shitnuggets. Ouch. I did become fast friends with them, mostly Lazuli, as I waited for pizza. That's so cool that you're relearning martial arts. I am stuck in school, Lapis remarked. Aunt Opal wants me to become a boring doctor, but I don't want to do that. Well, you could become a park ranger, I mused. Lapis looked at me wide-eyed, beaming with a big smile. That's it? That's perfect. I'd be out in nature shooting poachers and helping animals. Lapis mused. Oh great, now he'll want to drag me out camping, Lazuli said with a pout. Pizza's ready, Opal said as an employee brought out the 10 pizzas I order. 2 pepperoni, 2 sausage, 2 bacon, 2 cheese and 2 meat lovers. I got them in a capsule and I paid for them. I bid goodbye to Lapis and Lazuli before taking off on Kageyama. It was weird to see them so early and innocent. This only made me hate drive. Jero more for what he'll do them later on. I arrived back at Kame House and I opened the capsule to reveal the boxes of pizza. There's pepperoni, sausage, bacon, cheese and meat lovers, I said. Hearing meat, Goku started devouring the meat lover's pizza and Launch took the other one for herself. Innocent Launch, a meat lover's fan. Who knew? I started wolfing down the pepperoni. Roshi could nothing but glare at us because he couldn't stomach anything. That's why I got the pizza. Trolling Roshi again. Poor old man had to run back to the toilet. By the end of the night, we all got ready for bed. In canon, Goku gets to sleep with Launch. Not this time. I take the bedroom with Launch. I gave Goku a capsule to open a small house capsule to sleep outside. Krillin and Roshi were stuck downstairs. This is perfect. I have the bedroom with Launch. Roshi, eat your heart out. Even better if she sneezes, I can handle bad Launch. Either way, I sat on my side of the bed drawing. Launch was just in her white panties and grey tank top. Ace wouldn't he admit it, but he really did want Launch out of the tank top at least. As Launch got into bed, she looked to see Ace drawing something. What are you drawing there, Ace? Launch asked him. Ace decided there was no harm to show her. The picture was based off the manga cover for Canon S Volume 3 Chapter 27 with the innocent Launch in a maid-S outfit, dark dress and apron, holding up a submachine gun. On the right side was the blonde Launch in the same maid-S apron, except it's pink and yellow like in the third Japanese anime ending, holding the gun in different pose. Oh, that's lovely. It's so lifelike. Almost like a photo. Launch said amused. Ace had been mimicking Toriyama's style for some time and he could at least call himself third or fourth best at it. Well, I try. Ace said, putting it away in his art folder. Out of the folder fell the picture he sketched of Blue Net Launch in the lingerie from earlier. Launch picked up and blushed red. Ace feared he'd be seen as a pervert for it, but Launch merely only saw that Ace was really good at getting her good side. If that was her blonde half, she'd be pissed. Ace thought. She really is innocent though, I wonder. A thought came to Ace's mind to test exactly how innocent she was, and a perverted thought came to mind. He was so glad he locked the door even though Roshi would be too sick to peep anyway. He noticed that the tank top was tight-fitting and had an idea. Launch, don't you think the tank top is a bit too constricting? Ace asked, feigning a bit of innocence. Well, it is now that you mention it. I hate to admit, but my other half didn't really take much in brass. Launch admitted. I usually need to rely on Roshi for clothes. Tell you what, I used to get clothes for my friend Bulma using my black tap. I can do the same for you. I just need your measurements and I can spawn you enough clothes. Ace said kindly. Oh, thank you. Launch said, hugging Ace when put him in between her ample chest. You're welcome, Ace said quietly. It's charging now, so I can get it to you tomorrow. Ace's black tab was on the desk plugged in and charging along with his laptop. Rakure was on the desk as well with Ace's duffel bag under the bed. Ace did feel good for helping out Launch, at least knowing that Roshi was a bit of dick to her. At least now I can get a better tank top. My other half likes it, but it is so tight for me. Launch said, taking it off, leaving her topless. It was Ace observed Launch and noticed that good Launch's skin was a bit softer. Now he wondered what was exclusive to the blonde Launch. But Ace didn't want to push his luck too far and went to sleep. While he slept, a sleeping Launch wound up cuddling Ace. It is a good thing she was spooning him, or else it would have awkward in the morning. As for Roshi, in his sleep, he was dreaming of Launch doing the same thing. Ace turned into having a terrific dream whilst he slept, where he changed into dreaming of preventing the gods of destruction as a grown-up. He turned into murmuring attacks in his sleep. He slowly awakened knowing he wasn't there yet, and he turned into being held. He remembered that there has been a in the future time bypass at this factor, so he and Goku had a day without work. Roshi and Krillin are still sick with food poisoning. Ace looked over to see a snoozing Launch basically spooning him along with her chest on his again. Ace had a gleeful malicious smile on his smile to the fact that Roshi would never awaken to that. Release might awaken shortly after. Oh, correct morning, Ace. Sleep nicely. Release said, yawning. I slept first class, Ace said, trying now not to drool on the blue-haired splendor. Ace felt a upward push from the side and his flagpole stood. Having his adult package on his younger frame made it tough to hide, especially in pajamas. Launch looked down and gasped. Ace would have been concerned had it not been for Launch's innocence. Sorry approximately that I definitely had a very good dream last night. Ace stated with a twitch. Ace become really wondering if he had a aspect for violence as lots as women. On the other hand, it changed into in his blood. It is as a substitute large for 18 of your age, do not you think? Release said innocently gawking at it. I am overdeveloped. Ace stated flatly. It runs in the own family. Ironically, he was an a half-proper on that commentary approximately his circle of relatives. Dope Launch changed into natural-hearted enough to ride the nimbus being harmless to a fault and consequently wasn't a lot of a sexual being. She knew what it changed into though, but it changed into terrible Launch who changed into extra express approximately it. It is to a degree wherein good release isn't even positive if she turned into a virgin. What she noticed in Ace was a choice to help him as opposed to arousal. She also assumed it was her fault for this. Ace, perhaps I should assist you. Release offered kindly. Ace changed into already thinking about this, however he desired to be cautious. Launch was a steady and there has been a danger of her sneezing. I suppose you can assist by means of stroking it. Ace stated. I do not want to ask an excessive amount of you. Oh Ace, it is no longer a trouble in any respect. Launch said sweetly. Release needs to be a rub-down therapist because the one's fingers on me had been heavenly. The one's hands were so gentle that I used to be mewling with her touch on my shaft as she stroked it. Her hand had went up and down and I ought to only ask for her to go faster. I had a bit of drool and a look of pure euphoria. Simplest took approximately 10 minutes before I blew the weight throughout her face and I was absolutely comfy. Sorry Release, I stated contently. It is all adequate, you had been sponsored up. Release stated. Now I'll move use the bed. Release took for the bedroom as bed leaving me to tug my pajama pants back on as Goku enters the room. Isn't it just a exceptional day? Goku stated excitedly. We're in Release. Showering. You done took one yourself? I asked. Goku nodded and I took for the alternative bed right now. As soon as accomplished, Goku goes downstairs to sleeping Eros-sen, Nin and Krillin. I go back to the bedroom to locate a very bare Launch awaiting me. I did promise to spawn clothes. It is quite atypical although seeing her like this, but I remembered. Dragon Ball the anime was around at a time where an Eastern hentai animator typically have girls with a chunk of bush. So I count on it as why Release has won, or it may be the reality that blonde Launch probably would not provide a rat's ass about shaving. Blonde Launch's boobs are in all likelihood more messy and bushy, but I'll simply should discover later if I am getting that a long way. So Release, any requests on what you want me to get you? I requested, attempting now not to stare. A sundress could be pleasant and perhaps a suit as properly. I actually need to test out the beach right here. Launch said to me. If it is no longer too much. Smooth. I remarked, getting my black tab off the table. I got Launch a easy blue tankini to wear, considering her personality it suits properly as underclothing. Now for the sundress, I opt for floral off-white to offer her at the side of matching sandals. She placed it on and that I needed to admit that it did appearance exact on her. You would possibly need to make something for Goku. He is ravenous and so are the relaxation people. I stated. I will meet you downstairs. Launch took to downstairs and now I got dressed into garments for the time without work. I donned my GS bottoms, however now not the tunic. I as a substitute took a grey tank top as an undershirt, noticing that I was slowly getting increasingly jacked through the day. Over the tank pinnacle turned into an inexperienced windbreaker jacket with my family kanji at the lower back defined in black. Fur shoes, sneakers. For once I wasn't in my entire G. I slung my sword and black tab on my aspects and passed downstairs. Breakfast turned into an okay affair with Roshi and Krillin going again to sleep afterwards. Goku took off to exercising, and I had to take Release with me on Kageyama to get right down to town to get to a seaside. Before I left her, I had to throw dirt at her face for her to sneeze into her blonde side. Basically, I warned her not to commit any crime if she awakens and not tear off the get dressed on her earlier than getting her to sneeze lower back into her innocent form. I took off leaving her to revel in the day. It became most effective about 8 a.m. And I used to be wondering what I ought to do. Ace was riding round town in Kageyama earlier than noticing Lazuli and Lapis out gambling. Getting an idea, he decided to move again to Kame House. Ace become merciful in recuperation Krillin, however he become nonetheless a troll through not healing Roshi. The healing method became using the black tab to spawn a Maxim tomato from the Kirby collection. Thank you for casting off the sick effects. Krillin stated, feeling revitalized. I only had sufficient for one. Ace lied. Ace and Krillin left to find Goku, who turned into, to Ace's surprise, hanging around Lapis and Lazuli right outdoor of town. Lazuli was blushing seeing the bald monk, and that blush became returned. So, it is the guy who ordered all those pizzas. Lapis stated. Pleasant bike. Ace got off Kageyama and placed down the kickstand. Ace thanked for the compliment and Goku was satisfied to see Krillin healthy once more. The gesture from Goku in reality struck a chord in Krillin. If whatever Krillin idea Goku could have a chunk of hate for Krillin considering his moves to Goku yesterday, however there wasn't he. This made Krillin experience a bit lousy. Krillin, now would you read better? Allah spar. Goku stated excitedly. Ace sighed. Is combat the most effective thing on his thoughts? Lazuli asked. Sis, let them be. He kicks ass rather than going to high school. Lapis stated excitedly. You are on. Krillin said, taking the orange stance. Ace found the fight intently with consciousness on Krillin's stance and combating style. Krillin took emphasis on near combat as they threw fist and fought at every different. Goku's instincts aided him and became capable of trap Krillin's punch to judo flip him over. Ace had surpassed directly to him a bit of judo because he changed into board. Ace had an concept in mind and stepped in. Krillin, mind in case you and I combat? Ace stated, cracking his knuckles. Positive, I have been curious to see how you combat. Krillin stated, getting up to dust himself off. I'll be cheering for you, Krillin. Lazuli stated, getting to the sidelines, dragging Lapis over with him. Ace took the sword, nonetheless in its sheath, and tossed it to Lapis, telling him to keep onto it. This sword is so cool. Lapis said, fangasming over it. He became even giddier whilst Ace advised him he killed the authentic proprietor to take that blade. Lapis saw Ace as a badass in his e-book. Goku and Krillin were not a long way at the back of on that e-book either. Ace took his black tab to clip it to Kageyama and even left his windbreaker jacket on it too. Lapis, can you do the honors? Ace stated as him and Krillin took their stances. With pride, permit the game begin. Hajime. Lapis said as Krillin and Ace rushed out to fight. Black Tab took to gambling Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans enemy come upon. Ost a becoming warfare topic. Their first assault struck dead on every different S faces, sending each to the floor to scramble again to their feet. Supakatachi. Ace said, raising his left hand, which have become covered in bioelectricity. What the heck is that? Krillin/Lapis/Lazuli stated, surprised. Ace leaped up and dived down for a palm strike to which Krillin dodged. The attack hit the floor, leaving cracks to which Ace rolled onto his toes. He saved up together with his kicks to match with Krillin's punches. You re from Orin Temple, right Krill? Then you will be familiar with this. Sparking black combination, Orin. Ace said. Rushing with a burst of velocity, he struck Krillin off the vent with a punch to the stomach before letting free a flurry of him at the monk, which led to launching a unexpected barrage of kicking attacks that jibbed Ace and Krillin airborne. Ace landed the coup de grace with a double all cope with sending Krillin into the dirt, knocking him out. Ace got here down to the floor as Lazuli helped shake Krillin and sleeping. As Krillin were given up, he rubbed the bruises on his face. Ace, this became outstanding. I watched intently, so I should attempt to do it too. Goku stated cheekily. Sorry Krillin, I went a bit overboard. Ace said sheepishly. Music put me inside the temper. Black Tab went back to being silent as Krillin seemed over at Ace and Goku. Geez, we haven't started education but and you're already so robust. Krillin stated. Oh please, there are numerous human beings out there more potent than me. Ace stated severely. I have not even exceeded Roshi but, however I am getting there. That was whilst Opal came throughout them. Lapis, Lazuli, there you are. I have been seeking out you too so I will get you began on your homework. You re out of faculty for the week, however I might not you two fall in the back of. Opal stated sternly. I swear my sister haven't gotten the slacker out of both of you. Ace and Goku each caught Opal muttering that her sister is just as bad. Nicely it changed into fun looking you combat. Right here as your sword again. Lapis stated handing Rakure again to Ace. Ace placed Rakure lower back on his side. Opal had a cautious eye on Ace eyeing the sword especially. Opal was a former bounty hunter lower back in her young people and had clashes with the Kuma mercenary clan. Oh youngster, do not bullshit me on this, however isn't he the blade of Ratanko? Opal requested him. It is, however I name him Rakure. What of it? Ace said coolly. Due to the fact there is no manner, he'd let anybody have his sword. Opal said crossing her fingers. Well it really is due to the fact Ace killed Ratanko and took the sword for himself. Lapis said fist pumping the air. Opal seemed horrified desperately asking Ace if he left witness and Ace remembered that Mamba were given away. Kid if you may off the Kuma bastard, extra electricity to you, however you basically flipped off their entire extended family. The instant they discover, they'll hunt you down and hang your corpse as a flag. Opal said morbidly. If they re as weak as the undergo thief, I say convey it. They don't scare me at nicely. Besides, for one element, Mamba isn't fool. Maximum probably she hasn't instructed the Kuma clan that I killed Ratanko. If she did they had discovered me by using now. Ace remarked. Ace turned into sarcastically proper as Mamba was planning revenge to take Ace on herself. Too bad, she had no concept the way to discover him. Wait a second, you fought the Yukai Winge, Mamba? Opal stated amazed. That might imply you faced with Demon Frog, Susha and that Yukai Stain, Torga. I don't bear in mind a Torga. Goku stated questioning again. We confronted off with Ratanko, Susha and Mamba. Torga wasn't there. Through the way, killed Susha too. Ace remarked. Opal looked at the youngster with a piece of respect. Kid, to procure balls to be offing Yukai and flipping off the Kuma clan. Opal said. To procure the makings of a bounty hunter. No, that might require heroism. I didn't kill them due to the fact they were evil. They may be inside the manor. They wanted to kill me so I killed them. Ace stated bluntly. Anyway, later Mississippi. Gemstone. Ace placed lower back on his windbreaker jacket and checked the time. It was 10 o'clock am. He had hours before choosing up release from the seashore so they could have seashore. Yo Goku, I am heading out. Permit us join up back on the house for lunch in about 2 hours. Krillin, make sure you allow him recognize whilst it has been 2 hours. Goku is no longer so properly with time. Ace said getting back on Kageyama. Well, see you later then, Ace. I am going to journey Nimbus across the island. Goku stated calling forth his cloud. Opal, Lapis and Lazuli's eyes bulged seeing the mythical Nimbus display up and Goku casually receives on like it's everyday. You could journey on a cloud. Lapis screamed earlier than turning to Aunt Opal. I recognize what I want for Christmas. In order that they do rejoice Christmas. Ace thought. Ace had ridden off figuring out to pay a sure mermaid a visit. Goku took off at the Nimbus with Krillin at the same time as Lapis and Lazuli have been off to do dull homework. The twins were wishing for exhilaration of their lives. Oh the irony. The island where Pamela lived on was between Master Roshi's Island and Jingoro Island. I actually diagnosed the island, however Black Tap confirms it. That is the vicinity wherein well-known Blue S camp might be installation soon. That jogged my memory that I want to accumulate an immunity to psychic powers or get telepathic skills. Wager, I'll do each in view that I already have some diploma of telepathy. The usage of the paper, I locate her home. It is in a cave on the give up of the beach. The place a dark, dank open region with stalagmites, stalactites and various different rock formations. There has been a house with a large lagoon in front of it that seemed like it caused ocean. The place reminded me a number of Moss Line's place from Adventure Time, but what SA 2010's reference doing in an 1890s manga, 2000s if you rewatching the anime. Oh nicely, I don't question it. I park Kageyama near the doorway and walk in. The door became open, which thinking about the island is uninhabited by using humans made sense, and I entered. Pamela? I called out. Out at the porch. Pamela called out. I used any other door to get out to the porch to find Pamela with legs and bare. I used to be crimson-faced on the superb sight. At this point, I've seen greater up close than Roshi ever had. She giggles. Sorry approximately that I generally tend no longer to put on much at domestic. I don't clearly get agency. She stated getting on a short robe. And what approximately your legs? I requested. I am able to exchange at will. Pamela said with a wink. Happy IV organization. We go inside and here she pours herself a tumbler of wine. I might ask for a few, but I don't want to drive under the influence of alcohol. I choose soda. I've the break day from training with the turtle hermit, and I figured that I'd drop by way of for it. I said downing my drink. Oh with that old pervert. I pray he is no longer got in his mitts on any other female. Pamela said as she poured herself another glass of wine to drink. He does. We've got a housekeeper, launch. He tries, however I've been preventing him from succeeding. I said with a smirk. Right now, he is caught with food poisoning. Pamela broke into a chunk of a laugh. Serves the antique pervert right. Pamela said having a pair greater liquids. I should handiest stay for about 10 minutes because I had a hectic day in advance. Pamela becomes saddened but I confident her that I might go too. Oh, and I have a piece of a caution for you. That is going to appear random, however in a while inside the near destiny there may be going to be an army coming here to set camp. It is satisfactory you don't be here while they come. I said to her. Pamela regarded weirded out through my phrases but nodded. You may see the destiny. She asked quizzically. Yeah I stated. I waved her off as I took off on Kageyama. It was best to look Pamela. I was hoping she might take my warning. Thinking about the squaddies who could be in Blue S point, I might alternatively no longer have Pamela harmed. Morning wasn't over yet. I could visit Kai Kai, however I'd instead now not intrude with you simply but. It turned into tempting to stay with Pamela but I'd as an alternative stay nearer in case Goku receives into hassle. So, I return to Education Island. Ironically there may be the island's actual name and somehow Roshi is the damn mayor. And discover Release in her harmless side, on her way lower back to the residence with groceries. Yo launch, experience the swim? I stated returning Kageyama to its tablet. It became adorable. I even were given groceries free of charge some way. Launch stated. Something about me knowing the mayor. I shrugged and we entered the house. Roshi turned into nonetheless asleep and ill which was good for me. Seeing that Krillin and Goku were nonetheless out. This meant I had an hour in exchange by myself with Launch which was enough time. As Launch placed the groceries, I was wondering on what to do. I was debated on whether I need to pull up horrific Launch on our deal. The concept of it gave me a upward thrust. Both desirable and terrible had been appealing. Thinking about I had the time, I should cut up among them, but I determined to awareness on accurate release for now. Idea returned to this morning and an concept got here. I may want to repay the choose. When Release finishes setting away the groceries, I walk as much as her. Launch I by no means did absolutely thanks for this morning. I feel I have to return the prefer. I stated innocently. A part of me clearly did need to pay off her and I was going to. Simply no longer in the conventional manner. Release had believed it changed into a candy gesture. Partially, she turned into right, but she changed into ignorant of the undertones. Ace was a teen who tasted the illicit fruit and desired greater. Her moves within the morning's simplest helped to spur it. Oh, there's no need for that. Release said sweetly. I insist. I felt exceptional and that I want to leave you feeling secure too. Ace stated, hugging her side. Except as true with me, you may not remorse it. Nicely, I guess you may. It is now not lunchtime but. Launch said. A few minutes later, Launch would herself naked at the mattress in their room with Ace between her legs licking on her folds of her sensitive flower. Release become responding as a substitute well with a rash of moans. She became as a substitute surprised to locate this become how Ace wanted to pay her lower back. Ace, could you gradual down a little? Launch said panting. Ace regarded up and noticed the blue net panting often. Sorry approximately that Ace said sheepishly with a sun grin. The manner you've achieved it. Have you done this earlier then? Release asked. Yeah, I've achieved this as soon as earlier then. Ace stated. I bet this indicates you are now not so innocent at all. Launch stated, crimson inside the face. But move ahead and finish. No want to tell me twice. Ace stated excitedly, finishing up the activity. Launch wound up squirting proper on Ace's face as she had an orgasm. Launch became sweat being this was her first time experiencing an orgasm for herself. She turned into a tad cautious to peer that Ace's package nonetheless stood and pulsated. It begged to be touched. That become tremendous. Launch huffed as Ace wiped off the juices and pubic hairs off his face. However, I see you all wound up. Ace twitched as from time to time it hurts to be cursed with excellent. I do not suppose your tender palms are not going to work this time. Ace stated really. Release looked on with a piece of worry and that kindness of her had her satisfied she may want to help. Release took it in her hand to offer it a light rub. I observe you're twitching whenever you are like that. Does it hurt? Launch requested, concerned. A bit. Seeing my overdevelopment, whenever I do get an erection, it drains a chunk more blood than every day. Ace explained as Launch became lightly stoked it. It won't kill me though. It still turned into a ache, however it lessened through the days. Ace theorized to himself that the pain would absolutely achieved with the aid of overdue young adults. He hoped he changed into proper although. Release saved her tempo, getting a few moans out of Ace. Instinctually, he kissed Launch on impulse, aiming for her neck. She should see it his eyes, he become hungry and pent up for her. Release wasn't to a long way both as Ace's actions were given her riled up as nicely. Each looked into every other's eyes and each knew precisely what they desired subsequent. Ace turned into instead gentle along with her. He became surprised to discover that suitable Release liked being on top. Now not that he turned into complaining, as the placement for them to build strength in his thighs. Being a gentleman, he failed to shoot out his finisher on Launch's face or inside her. Pulling out, he wound up soaking her returned instead by chance. Release didn't he thoughts. The climax from that become nicely really worth it. Roshi would be getting up wondering wherein everybody changed into. Ace and Release could calm down an hour later dressed and wiped clean up. Roshi became completely clueless to what they did up there. The day rolled on for all and sundry. Ace could spend the relaxation of the day growing new techniques. Goku and Krillin had been excited for education tomorrow for the reason that Roshi changed into feeling higher. Ace still had that smile of victory on his aspect all the day. That night everyone turned into readying for mattress. Ace had gotten to Release knowing Roshi was going to come as much as their room inside the morning. Release had a pleasing brief pink nightgown with matching panties way to him. This outfit was basically something horrific Launch would never be stuck useless in. Of root, those panties would come off thinking about launch desired any other round. And who become ace to disclaim her? Everyone was in bed with the students excited for training tomorrow. Goku and Krillin slept peacefully. Ace slept completely relaxed in Launch's chest. Launch was asleep next to him with a slightly sore bottom and her panties hanging off her right leg. Launch was sleeping soundly and satisfied, pulling Ace closer into her chest. Roshi was sleeping next to Krillin with a vivid dream involving Bulma. Didn't he help that Krillin's sleep kicked Roshi in the balls, ruining his perverted dreams and putting him in pain? Roshi couldn't even dream perverted in peace. Morning would come and Roshi was the first up. He bolted up wanting to get a peep on Launch and opened the bedroom door. Of course, Ace was asleep and had the back of his head deep in Launch's bosom, much to Roshi's envy. I swear that kid knows he is lucky. I wouldn't be surprised did this to Bulma. Roshi thought. But I wonder what Launch wears when she sleeps. Roshi slowly peeled back the sheet to see the nightgown and the rolled down panties. Roshi's jaw dropped and, being a pervert, realized the smell of sex. Roshi was fuming that Ace got further than him. It was then he noticed that it was bad Launch that asleep and he backed away terrified. Oh shit. No way do I want to interrupt her dream cycle. Roshi thought. Too bad, Ace squirmed, waking up Launch. Launch found herself in the nightgown, which she instantly detested, and saw Ace snuggled in her chest. She couldn't take out her anger on him, and then she saw Roshi. She carefully took Ace off her and laid him on the bed. Then she got the gun from under her pillow and fired rounds into Roshi, calling him a pervert. Ace would get up to see this and snigger. Morning, Iro-sen-nin. Ace said with a smirk. Launch, please stop shooting him. Launch obeyed, much to Roshi's surprise. Ace quickly showered and came out in his black G from earlier. With Rakure and his black tab on his sides, he was ready to go. Well, nice to know you slept well. Roshi said, dusting himself off. Launch, make us breakfast please. Ace asked. Do I look like your damn maid? Launch barked. You are, actually. Well, more of a housekeeper. Ace said, leaving to get Goku up for training. Launch didn't even think on why a pair of panties was at her ankle or why the bed smelled of sex. She was instead focused on getting a shower herself. Well, canon training had begun, and for the most part I was all for it. I still was going to do out of my way to pro Roshi through. We got the first task, milk delivery. Goku and Krillin each took one heavy box of milk, but I took two. We have to deliver them around town, and Roshi kept flirting with the women around town. I laughed when Opal kneeing him in the balls. After climbing up the mountain to deliver the last set of milks, Goku and Krillin were panting, already exhausted. I wasn't, and I think Roshi was steamed that I was ready for more. All over the world people were preparing for the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. Namely a Yukai who was seeking revenge in Ace's death. She had just finished her training before looking at an old photo of her and her comrades. It is bad enough Torga and Lord Yao had passed, but I get my new friends killed by those brats. She raged. But soon, I'll have my revenge and regain Ratanko's sword. She growled, thinking back to her humiliating defeat. Next time you won't be so lucky, she said. Ace. Next was plow fields barehanded. I only not complain because I was conditioned for this. That and my parents put me through training from hell. This is not as bad. After plowing the fields, we got breakfast. Next was tutoring, to which I rolled my eyes at. Iro-sen-nin, can I skip this? I am already educated. I remarked to him. Tell me, how educated are you? Roshi said, interested. I have a high school diploma and a college degree. I said coolly. This surprises Krillin and Roshi. Before you ask, it was in computer science. I was going to pursue physical education, but I wanted to focus on more at a time. I said. Wow, that's actually rather impressive. Krillin said. I suppose you can be excused from this part of training. Roshi said to me. Now that I think of it, I'd rather help teach. I used to tutor younger kids, I said. And so, I helped Roshi teach Goku and Krillin. In the case, I had a way of teaching him strategy through combat. Basically, I was able to teach this guy math through using fighting as an example. So afterwards it was napping or my case meditating. We talked of the upcoming tournament before that. Next was construction work, which was okay. I swear Roshi is using us to make money. After construction, Krillin and Goku wanted to badly learn fighting skills, to which Roshi said they would the moment he could push the giant boulder. But master, that's impossible, Krillin said before getting smacked over the head by Ace. Impossible is a word my clan doesn't believe. If you got the will, it is possible, Ace said calmly. Sorry for hitting you. Note taken, Krillin said, rubbing his head. Master Roshi proved Krillin wrong by pushing the boulder with one hand. Goku pushed the same boulder and was able to push it. Ace overdid it by lifting it and hurling it 2 feet away. Roshi paled and Ace had his trolling smirk. Damn it, I'll have to use the old stone wall. This boulder not even the Ox King or Gohan could lift or move, Roshi thought. Roshi pointed to the massive rock, telling the three if they pushed that one, he'd teach them to fight. Next on training was 10 laps of swimming around the lake with sharks. Ace had the goal to wrestle one and make a habit of wrestling one shark each lap. Krillin and Goku slowly picked up the habit. Next on training, tied to tree to dodge bees. Goku and Krillin would be stung for dear life, but oddly few bees came after Ace. Finally, the day of training was done, only for them to inform that they would not be wearing weights from now on. Krillin paled, but Ace wasn't bothered. He was already wearing about 40 pounds, 10 in each armband and boot. Training was quite fun and I was improving faster than Roshi realized. For one, I rigged my own weights to basically double what everyone else was using. Adding the turtle shell, I was at 170 pounds. My plan was power myself up to surpass him and then some. Days would pass and the training got tougher. During those days, Lazuli would sometimes come to cheer Krillin on. At night, I was building up new techniques and heightening my telepathy. I also was banging good launch under Roshi, Goku, and Krillin's nose. I could have messed around with bad launch, but I decided not to. Good launch was happy to help me with my raging hormones and insisted if I was pent up she'd help. Months passed and December came around. Lapis and Lazuli returned home months earlier. Soon enough, my birthday rolled around. I made 15, mentally I'd be 20 again. I had the day off, to which I decided to use to go see Bulma. Why? Trolling potential. Yamcha had spent a month in the wilderness in the jungle and today he would be returning home to West City. Bulma, Burakansas, and Oolong were on their way back to Capsule Corporation from shopping. That bastard. Yamcha doesn't have the courtesy to call. I needed him and he runs off. Bulma fumed. She had dropped that orange on the road, walking out to grab it when a truck was blaring. Before Yamcha could even save her, Ace, on Kageyama, caught Bulma and the orange, stealing Yamcha's chance for a cool introduction. Hey genius, miss me? Ace said with a wink. Ace. Man, am I glad to see you. How is Goku? Oolong asked, glad to see his friend. It is all good. Today is my birthday, so I got the day off from training with Roshi. I said with Bulma still in my lap. Damn it, Ace. I was going to save her. Yamcha said, walking up to me. Oh hey, it is my favorite cock. You look like shit, by the way, I said smugly. Why, you little, Yamcha said before Bulma scowled at him. Knowing I missed Bulma's birthday, I had brought her some jewelry, namely a peridot ring and a pair of shades with peridot rhinestones. I had drawn up for Oolong a perverted picture. Who did I draw? Princess Snake getting it with some of her servants. But what about Yamcha? I got him nothing. I didn't stay too long, but I did stay long enough to savor Bulma's flower under Yamcha's nose back at her place. Even though I didn't really get any gifts, it was a cool birthday all around. Scratch that, Pamela came to see me to give me a gift. A new sheep. All in all, training was a madcap adventure. Remember the giant boulder Roshi wanted us to push? The next day, Goku and Krillin pushed it like cannon. I punched it into pieces after they pushed it. I don't get why Roshi was crying about it though. Something about it having a legacy. Well, you three proved yourselves, but you've already gotten the training. The secret is the routine so it can push your bodies to break the human limits. I guess now I'll have to use heavier shells. Roshi remarked. So, in came the heavier shells, I was playing it off like I was glutton for pain. All this drew on until there was one day left until the tournament and I was pumped. Free of the heavier turtle shell, I leaped to join Goku and Krillin in the air. Feeling light was awesome. Roshi had some words for us when Goku and Krillin lamented they didn't learn any cool fighting moves. Well boys, I have almost nothing left to teach you about the martial arts. The old secret behind the turtle hermit fighting style is the training schedule which you've done every day. You boys don't seem to realize, but just by repeating these basic exercises over and over again, you've pushed your arms, and legs, and hearts and even your brains past their built-in limitations. That right there is the all art behind martial arts. Though, from the look on Ace's face, I can tell he understands. Roshi said to us. I am pumped for this tournament. I said, fist pumping it into the air. Tell me by first step out into the world of martial arts. I was aiming to win the tournament and my power had grown. Although I prefer not to use powers levels, I had used my black tab to compare. Looking at the results, I smirked. It wasn't going to be easy, but I was going to smoke Roshi. Today became the day for event and Ace became ecstatic. Launch had gotten Roshi, Goku, and Krillin matching suits. Ace had gotten his own suit, taking a page from Sterling Archer in how to select them. Ace had come out the door in a black three-piece suit with a black tie with the family's crest on it. He also had a gray fedora with a black strap around it with studs. Ace also had a brand new black one-strap backpack that he spawned and custom designed. Inner turned into his emergency G and traditional stuff he carried in his old duffel bag. His black tab clipped to his left and Rakure on his lower back sheatheded. He was ready to head. He had located Kageyama in its capsule and in his pocket. How do I look? Ace stated, cracking his knuckles. Stunning. Launch said with a helping smile. You purchased a few fashion. Roshi said, crossing his hands. I intend to appearance my niece whilst doing my great. I'll actually appearance better than Yamcha for Bulma. Ace said darkly. The organization had breakfast were bidding goodbye to Release, who became staying in the back of to watch came residence. Ace had satisfied her to return to the subsequent tournament. The four have been about to go away for the airport best to see a hovervan coming for them. The driving force become Opal, who desired to offer them a experience to the airport. I have a unique surprise for you men. It became a chunk of squeeze, but I've enough money to take myself, Lapis and Lazuli to Papaya Island to cheer you guys on. Opal said excitedly. Oh wow, it really is exceptional. Krillin stated, ecstatic to peer Lazuli again. Properly here. Ace stated, tossing a thick roll of zini bills into her lap. Something to reimburse you on your trouble. Roshi and Krillin were agape seeing Ace doing that so frivolously, and Opal was greatly surprised. With this amount I'll be capable of greater than have enough money the experience. I should even get a pleasing in-room for myself. Ace, I don't know if I will pay off your kindness. Opal said to him. Do not worry about returning that money. I undergo that like bathroom paper. Ace said, leaning returned. Ace had grown up in as a substitute center magnificence domestic with his siblings before his parents finalized the black tab. They have been basically higher center elegance and money have become meaningless considering they might now spawn big quantities of it. This changed the circle of relatives to do extra targeted on other aspects. Money wasn't important anymore, however they nevertheless had a work ethic. Ace had spawned that money and felt good enough handing it off to her. I can't wait to look the warring parties. Goku said. As they arrived at the airport, they discovered Lapis and Lazuli at the side of their mother and father looking forward to them. How am I able to describe Lapis and Lazuli as mother and father? Nicely, thanks to telepathy I ought to get a examine on them. And I failed to like what I noticed. Opal's older sister and Lapis and Lazuli's mom, Agate, is a whole slacker and sexpot. She resembled Lazuli but with long platinum blonde hair. She became a pea stick and quite an awful lot became a multitude sporting an outsized hoodie, saggy pants, socks and sandals. Hair became a whole mess too. If she gave a crap of her look, she'd look exceptional. Does not assist, she as a woman-child. Saw that during my examine of her mind. A neglectful sack of crap who is basically better than Peter Griffin. The daddy, Brock, turned into simplest barely higher but no longer saying lots. He regarded to present a rat ass about the youngsters, however only to keep Agate close to him to plow. He quite a lot turned into a perverted piece of crap who had a shred of honor. Hell, he made Roshi look nobler and a better man or woman by using evaluation. I additionally study the circle of relatives as final call metal. Typical, no marvel Lapis and Lazuli develop as much as delinquents. So those are the runts going to the Budokai. I don't know, Opal. These men appear to be they will get stomped. Brock said, taking out a cigarette to smoke. Least, I'll be doing something profitable in place of sitting on my ass being a shitty determine. I muttered loud enough for Opal to pay attention. You wrong. We are going to there to combat and win all our battles. Goku protested. Seriously, sis. You instructed me martial artists only for me to peer that they may be fucking children. If I knew this, I wouldn't have wasted Viaduct treasured time to bring Lapis and Lazuli. Agate barked. Lapis and Lazuli were silent. Language, sis. They proper right here. Opal barked again. You a parent now for Kamiya's sake, it is not all about you anymore. Yeah, it become pretty awkward and Lapis and Lazuli have been happy to be on the plane with me, Goku, Krillin, Roshi and Opal. I determined to present Roshi a spoil from my trolling due to the fact I realized he is a first-rate man or woman. I even were given him out of trouble for groping the flight attendant's ass. Seeing the flight gave me time, I used my black tab to test on current activities. I didn't get a good deal information, however the real world nonetheless sucks. On the second note, I had an order located to deliver an airship full of materials to SAM 275,508 SAK in Amis village. I was going to acquire allies, and that I had a plan to offer them excellent incentive to work for / with me. Plus, I had plans. Mischievous plans. I had no concept that my presence had a larger impact on the arena of Dragon Ball than I had notion. The night sky over Papaya Island was incredible, to which Ace determined it breathtaking. The Dragon World turned into essentially Indy, and it suggests. The aircraft landed and all people bolted off the plane. Ace opened up Kageyama out its pill and were given in setting out for the Coliseum. Arriving there first, he fast signed up. Roshi might arrive with everybody else to join up Jackie-chan, Goku, and Krillin. Bulma, Pura Kansas, Oolong, and Yamcha arrived as properly. What's up, Yamcha? Ace said coolly. Humph. Yamcha said indignantly, signing up. Bulma changed into sporting the peridot ring and peridot sunshades, to which Ace smiled. Ace, I put down a massive wager on you attending to the finals, so don't disappoint. Oolong stated encouraging. Recollected completed. Ace remarked. Ace, you guys look dashing on your fits. Bulma said. Why thank you, Bulma. Roshi stated, stepping into her non-public space. He got pulled through the ear from Opal, who accidentally stole a thread for Yamcha to protect his lady. Our Viaduct the way, who are the twins? Bulma stated, pointing over to Lapis and Lazuli. I am Lapis, that is my dual Lazuli. The only yelling at Roshi is my aunt Opal. Lapis said. Well, I am Bulma Briefs, this is Pura Kansas Oolong, and that is my boyfriend, Yamcha. Bulma said, making introductions. Wait, the Bulma briefs. The heir of Tablet Corporation, Bulma. How in the world do you human beings have connections to her? Opal stated, losing Roshi on his backside. Goku, and that I met her when she hit us along with her vehicle. Ace said. And we have been friends ever on account that. Opal didn't he recognize to a way to respond. Roshi recommended all of us test into a motel, to which they speedy did. Opal ultimately got her room to sleep in peace. Lapis and Lazuli have been bouncing on the mattress of their shared room earlier than falling asleep. Roshi had his own, Goku and Krillin shared one, and Pura Kansas and Oolong got their own rooms. Ace became meditating in his personal room whilst Bulma got here knocking on his door. Ace were given to reply the door. Bulma, what do I owe you seeing me? Ace asked. Desired to, thanks again for the gift. Wish you the first class. Bulma stated warmly. Thanks. Ace stated as he closed the door to go to bed. Bulma returned to her room with Yamcha as he promised some intimacy to make up for their lack of intercourse currently. She determined Yamcha asleep. Bulma wasn't pleased. Bulma turned into tempted to up and visit Ace. But he became already asleep. Bulma determined to just go to sleep. The subsequent morning, Master Roshi led Goku, Krillin, and Ace to the competition's simplest place. Something for you all, the Turtle School G. That manner you may fight representing in which you got your training. Roshi said, handing them the uniform. Earlier than you get the primary occasion, you will have to fight inside the removal. Apparently this time, simplest 10 opponents can be capable of bypass through the removal rounds in an effort to fight inside the actual match. Suitable good fortune, you free. Ace beamed at the news. Then warring parties being the limits means canon fights will nevertheless manifest and he may not get inside the manor. But this supposed he had no idea who his potential opponent may be. Ace nevertheless supposed to kick ass. Going off into the facet, he made more than one adjustments to his Turtle College G. Ace's uniform was an orange tank pinnacle with matching saggy pants, black studded weighted wristbands, black training shoes and a black obi-styled belt tied at the aspect. The again of the tank pinnacle nonetheless had a big Turtle College kanji, and at the front left is a smaller version of the kanji in the canon hues. Ace took to don a black headband with the family kanji on the middle mentioned in blood purple. Popping out, he joined Goku and Krillin posing. Hope you do not mind a piece of customization, Iro-sen-nin. Ace said. Your extended family virtually does have an affinity for the color black. Roshi remarked. To the elimination rounds. Ace idea as he notioned for them with Goku and Krillin. Now not too a ways away, the coroner became having his human beings choose up a useless body. How did she die? She become ranting and raving about getting revenge for her grasp's death whilst consuming and choked on a hot canine. Now she lay stiff at the ground as they gathered her frame. Her ultimate phrase is Ace Gurk, I will hang out your ass, and so, Mamba died and Ace could be knowledgeable through his black tap, simplest to roll his eyes. Bet I used to be proper. She might get her silly ass killed before informing the Kuma extended family. A shame that I simply wanted to kill her. Ace notion. Oh well, on to the fight. Ace had no idea that might be greater than canon fighters waiting for him. I wonder who my 10th opponent could be. We are getting the explanations and so forth on the rules. I don't bother listen because I already know the rules. With Mamba dead, I could give Oolong Rakure to hold on to. So, everyone got their canon numbers and I got no 167, making me end up in the last block. However, before I go to my block, I kick open a hole large enough for Bulma and company to watch stunning the fighters. Enjoy the show. I said, walking to block 5. Oh, my first fight was against a guy 10 times my size. How did I beat him? I charged electricity in 2 fingers and rammed them into the fighter 130's bottom, causing constipation. Everyone looked at me funny until I released electricity, electrocuted the fighter's ass and sent him off like a rocket. He hit the roof and crashed on top of Ranfin's opponent, getting her a free win. The next guy I would fight gave up immediately, saying his body wasn't ready. Ace had not expected crossovers, but he was going to get a rude awakening. Existing on a set of islands quite far from Omori's Island, which is just outside East City, was an exact replica of the elemental continents, albeit a tad smaller. Either way, a similar history occurred, except there were no tailed beasts to fight over. Instead, their powers were ingrained in the blood of certain cursed lines. So basically, they fought to have the ones with beast blood. But there was more peace due to Madara dying and Otherworld keeping him in hell with no escape. No Zetsu either because no Kagura. Either way, most of the people on those elemental continents don't leave them for the outside world. However, Konoha found about the world martial arts and decided to send its best team to win. Team Minato. Ace had no idea and he was going to have to work for the 10th. On the bright side, at least Might Gay was sick with a fever and was unable to go to the tournament, sparing Ace of a completely unfair match. I think the universe was getting me back for being a dick to Roshi and Yamcha because it was my next opponent that frightened. He had a Konoha hit I-8 and an Uchiha crest. I take up my opponent immediately to get a name. Obito Uchiha. Shit, Naruto-S in the mix. Okay, if Obito-S a kid here and isn't he scarred up, that means he hasn't he handed over a Sharingan to Kakashi, Rin hasn't he died, and he hasn't he met Madara. Thank Kami, I found out on Black Tab that Kaguya doesn't exist and Madara is dead. Sadly, Kakashi had a Sharingan despite Obito having both his eyes. On the bright side, Obito's shit as a kid and doesn't he have the Zetsu powers. I put the tablet back on my side and bow. Fighter 167 vs Fighter 166 begin. The announcer said. I take no chances with him as I zip up to land the first punch. Obito got hit staggering back before getting back into the action. Remember jutsus? Yeah, they can still use them except at S with ki. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because I can shamelessly take their techniques and not feel like a weeb, and bad because Obito was launching several fireball jutsu attack. I duck and roll, slamming both my feet into his chest, sending him tumbling off the ring and getting me the victory. I can't believe I lost in 2 hits, my clan is going to be disappointed. Obito said, staggering up. Obito. Tell me something, anyone else here from where you reform? I asked. He confirmed it by pointing at his sensei, Minato freaking Namikaze, in the opponent block next to mine. Well, at least Rin and Kakashi were eliminated by him. But still, I got to fight Minato. I am screwed. I can kiss Kanon goodbye, which meant I had to do whatever possible to make sure he loses to me. My last opponent was some wannabe who made Hercule look better and I punched him out. So, I was going to the finals with Minato. On the bright side, at least he can use the Hieroshine because no weapons allowed. Maybe I had a chance. Goku and the Kanon fighters made it to the end of the elimination rounds. I was nervous. Didn't he help that Kakashi came up to me and said to my face that his sensei was going to kick my ass. I did punch Kakashi into a wall for that. I got congratulated by Roshi and Bulma encouraged us. I was hoping I got Namikaze, because if he got any other opponent, I can kiss Kanon goodbye. I had met up with Bulma earlier than Goku, Roshi, or Krillin discovered her. Roshi promptly showed with the souvenir T-Blast and a keychain. I had a plan to troll him, and using my black tab, I zapped at the T-Blast on her. Bulma defined that Opal, Lapis and Lazuli could be a chunk overdue. Well, Roshi, she changed into it. I stated, being cheeky. Bulma called and helped, however, chuckle as Roshi fumed. Goku and Krillin capture up and I burst off on my own to assume on my situation. I knew Minato is not Cage, but, however, he would still a hard war. I was going to need to strategize at the cross. Rei Bushido, the sector match announcer, readied his shades and made the assertion, calling the 10 finalists. Ace made it to the room where he wore a face mask because of Bacterian. Yamcha changed into informing the others approximately the stank of that fighter. Minato became ultimate to arrive and Ace changed into obtrusive at him. Ace's black tab rang to alert that his bundle changed into added to Namis village. Ace inwardly smirked. Best. He concept. I will have a new best friend with the aid of the quit of this and maybe play matchmaker. Rei Bushido walked into the room and took notice over the 10 who braved through the elimination spherical to get to the finals. He cherished that component. Welcome fighters and congratulations on making it right here. Now we'll commence the drawing of numbers to decide who your next opponent might be. Rei said. With a piece of warping, Ace made certain he and Minato would be first. After them, had been the canon matchups of Krillin/Bacterian, Jackie/Chun, Nam/Ranfin, Jackie-Chun/Yamcha, and Goku/Jiren. They were given the rundown on the guidelines again. And so the primary healthy become introduced, and Ace put down a big bet on Krillin, Nam, Jackie-Chun, Goku, and himself triumphing these fits. He knew he can spawn money, however if he gained those bets, human beings are much less in all likelihood to question wherein his money comes from. They were given out to the area and in the stands Bulma Oolong, Pura Kansas, Opal, Lapis, Lazuli, Rin, Kakashi and Atio were in the front. Welcome to the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. We've got 10 opponents all vying for that name of being the champion. I am your announcer, Rei Bushido, and I will be refereeing the fighting. Today starts off evolved with our first fit. The mysterious ninja from the isolated areas of the basic continents, Minato Namikaze. Rei stated as Minato came out into the hoop. There had been cheers, in particular Minato as college students. Yamcha, Goku, Krillin and other finalists determined to look at this combat over at the sidelines, basically where Goku spent time to useful resource Krillin in canon. Simone Sensei, kick ass. Rin cheered. And his opponent, considered one of 3 under 18 to have ever made it to the finals, deliver it up for Ace Member Blackthorn. Rei said as Ace got here out cracking his knuckles as he stepped into the hoop. Rei noted Ace SG and asked him if he educated below the wonderful Master Roshi in conjunction with a chunk approximately himself. Properly, I am 15, like combating, driving Kageyama around, and that I spent 6 months pushing myself with my bash brother Goku and Krillin to break my antique limits again below him. I intend to win this. Ace said darkly. Rei took to the mic and said, splendid. Master Roshi has not taken students in years. Folks, you better prepare yourselves. If Roshi is training students, anticipate a actual display. The match began and Ace became geared up to stand future. Ace 15 versus Minato Namikaze 17. It became early, however Ace decided to up the strain early through asking to dispose of all his weights. Max and with the aid of extension the audience were amazed that he was wearing them. Yeah, in general, I'm carrying about 300 pounds in armbands, lead bands and bracers. Wore them through the elimination spherical. Ace said as he started to do away with them. I wore half as lots at the aircraft ride right here. He was sporting weights the entire time. Roshi/Jackie-chan idea. With all the weights long gone and stored into black tab, Ace replaced the armbands with non-weighted black ones. Dragon Ball Advanced Journey Tenkaichi Budokai plays, Ace bolted like a rocket and nailed Minato with the first punch to his stomach, already preparing a kick. Minato was able to increase his leg, bringing it to a clash. Ace had to break away and bounce lower back. Minato became taller than younger Ace and had the brink. They exchanged a heated slugfest and the target audience could almost feel every blow. Ace had numerous bruises on his face and Minato had some on his collarbone and jaw. Ladies and gentlemen, those combatants are not giving up in any respect. Rei said as they saved punching and kicking every other. Simone Ace, you may do it. Goku cheered. Sensei, kick his ass. Rin stated. Lapis and Lazuli have been cheering for Ace, and things have been about to get greater extreme. Nam watched on silence, admitting Ace is probably a assignment if they had been to fight. Naruto soundtrack awful scenario performs. Minato used his pace to trap Ace off shield, kick him skyward. Kage Bushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Minato said as now there were 5 Minatos. They all spoke in unison and stated, Gaki, you are proficient, but you're no longer going to win this suit. The five leaped up and started out landing blows mid-air. Top notch, he has extended himself and is caught defending against five of them. Ray stated searching up above. It is over, that Ace child in no way stood a hazard. Kakashi stated confident. Lapis regarded over at him evident. High brief, dark, and douche bag, the suit is not over yet. Lapis stated. Despite the extreme disadvantage Ace had, he changed into nevertheless on the offensive. The standard key fighter could get away from the five clones. Ace turned into uncommon. A whole lot to the surprise of all of the combatants, the audience, and Ray. Ace kicks, headbutts, punches, and tail swipes at Minato at a faster speed. Every blow Ace landed, Minato landed 3 greater. Excellent. Regardless of the disadvantage, Ace continues to be fighting 5 Minatos mid-airs. That is a testimony to this kid's guts and determination. Ray stated. Kakashi became perplexed at Ace's selection to combat as opposed to protecting as Obito and Rin persevered to cheer for their sensei. En route, Ace became taking blows to his ribs, back, and face before getting the double axe handle to the again sending him face first into the arena leaving cracks. The clones dispersed because the real Minato landed at the floor. It is over. Minato said. I have disabled him. Non-Lee, Dragon Ball Superior Adventure War Anxiety performs. Minato's eyes and all of us else, except Goku, bulged to peer. Ace staggered up. He even spat up a whole lot of blood and stood tall. It is no longer over yet. Ace said, wiping the blood off his chin. Until I say it's over. Ace took a stance and the blood on his arms and head boiled, letting off steam. Lapis was enamored with the truth. Ace took the attack and is still fighting. Kakashi changed into in disbelief. He cannot be human. Kakashi stated. Must be a demon. Ace is still geared up and inclined to throw down. The stamina and endurance in this one is insane. Ray stated ecstatic. Or maybe he is just too loopy to give up. Yamcha muttered. I heard that, you damn cuck. I am hoping Chun kicks your ass. Ace barked at him. This got Lapis, Lazuli, and Opal breaking into laughter due to the fact they knew what a cuck became. Yamcha nonetheless didn't he understand what it meant. Ray became blushing on the remark. Ace tightened his headscarf. Time to show you why my center call is Meber. Ace idea geared up to complete this combat. Naruto direction of the Ninja 2 battle tomb plays. Ace's wounds slowly healed up and this will a wicked smile. One that creeped out Minato. He had no idea that he gave Ace the edge to push him to victory. I am going to borrow one from Ranfin's manual of movements. Ace stated, balling his fists. But make it better. This got anybody stressed as Ace focused at the steaming blood, spinning his fingers at a speedy pace, constructing friction. Ranfin realized what circulate he turned into taking. Her warm fist. His knuckles started to smoke before breaking out into flames fueled by ki. Introducing the advanced heat fist that I christened my blazing knuckles. Ace said, taking a conflict pose. Super, he has lit his fists ablaze. Ray stated. With newfound pace, Ace landed as a minimum 6 blows on Minato earlier than being swatted off him. 3 of those blows made small burns on his body. Minato found out he had no preference but use his remaining motel, which he was hoping to apply in opposition to Chun. Minato, in a chunk of a rush, commenced to create a Rasengan. Now any sane man could recognize maybe he could stop. Ace changed into questionably sane. With knuckles nevertheless lit, Ace cupped his fingers to his left aspect, tensing. Blazing Kami-Hami. Ace stated, because the generally blue ki became now a deep coloration of purple, searching greater like a fireball. Ray took steps back as Minato lunged ahead along with his ball of concerted ki, shouting, Rasengan. Ha! Ace stated, firing the flaming Kamehameha forward. The beam hit dead on with Minato's Rasengan parting the beams, however the warmth from them changed into extreme. Minato saved on foot forward, reducing the beam increasingly. Minato would have been gotten in addition if Ace didn't he play dirty. Activating his sparking touch, the strength zapped Minato, breaking his attention, which left to him taking the overall brunt of the blazing Kamehameha. The attack dispatched him hurtling off the area and into the wall, brunt and battered. His body fell to the ground, being barely aware. Ace 15 versus Minato Namek. Ace 17 in shape over ring out. And the winner of the primary round is Ace Blackthorn, Ray said as the crowd cheered. Ace became panting like a dog but had a grin on his smile. Kakashi ran down to his sensei in disbelief. Even worse, he nor Obito forgot to use their Sharingan to copy Ace's strategies. Paradoxically, the Black Tab had automatically launched a dampener to save them from doing that. Besides, Kakashi lifted up Minato to get him scientific help, and he turned into observed by using Rin and Obito. Got something funny to mention now, Yamcha? Ace stated, searching over at the bandit. Yamcha shook his head, and Ace got out the hoop to grab his winnings. Goku ran as much as proportion a fist bump. Thanks, Goku. Top luck towards Jiren, Ace said with a smile. Thanks, but you were first rate. Especially with that flaming Kamehameha, Goku mused. Even though, I hope your opponent isn't he always too hurt. He will stay, Ace said. Krillin's up next, however, seeing his opponent, I'll just go back to in and nap. Goku could understand due to the fact Bacterian smelled rancid. Ace had positioned back on the weights and walked over to peer Nam. Nam had congratulated Ace on his win. Thank you. So Nam, I heard that your village has had a problem. Well, I have something carried out about it. I had a package deal dispatched, Ace stated, pulling up his black tab to reveal Nam the order. A crap ton of components to assist. A small token of kindness. Small. All of this cost more money than I could even purchase with the prize money, Nam stated in shock. Nicely, my circle of relatives is loaded, however we consider in aiding others. Money is dirty, but it has proper makes use of once in a while, Ace stated. All I ask in a single factor, stick across the match till it is over. This is all you ask, Nam said, surprised at the simple request. I have other things I will need you to do, but it truly is it for now, Ace said. Later, Ace took to see Krillin and encourage him for his healthy. He additionally instructed Krillin wasn't he going to be there to peer the healthy due to the fact his opponent's stench could pressure him to kill Bacterian. Krillin nodded and Ace left the arena grabbing his sword from Oolong. Opal and Lapis fled whilst Bacterian entered the area, but Lapis stayed to watch the fight no matter the horrid funk. Canon become safe for now, and that I had benefited from it. I felt a good deal stronger now that I was returned to 100%. Although, as an alternative not, I used the black tab to measure my power level. With the weights on, I used to be a tad above with Roshi. Without them, I used to be at approximately 175. Getting Kageyama out its tablet, I returned to the lodge. I realized full nicely that powers levels are for the most element pointless without skill. I had thoughts and thoughts for brand new attacks, but I had to loosen up first. A shame I couldn't get Bulma to come with. Minato become a fortunate guy. The Rasengan averted the burns from being too awful, and he was up and about after being healed from the medic nin that got here alone. Quickly the group turned into at the boat for home now, not bothering to see the rest of it. They needed to document home. Kakashi looked again to the island and made a silent vow to at some point combat and defeat Ace for his sensei. Kushi is going kill me when I found out I misplaced. I actually underestimated him, Minato stated. At the least you made it to the finals, Rin stated unfortunately. Team Minato felt humiliated, but it could not worsen. A fish leaped out the water and smacked Kakashi within the face. Krillin's fight with Bacterian went as canon dictated, with Goku telling him he doesn't have a nose. Krillin confronted down the foul perpetrator. Okay, stinky, not enough for you, haha, then here's great special tricky. Heard Gua, Bacterian stated, unleashing his Phalm attack. Instead of dodging it, Krillin used a Kie to send in another path which hit Yamcha within the face. Okami, my mouth was open. Yamcha screamed. It's become laughing at him all of the way from the lodge room watching the combat the usage of a flying digital camera he spawned to fly over the hoop. Krillin bounce kicked the foul man in his chest knocking a decaying enamel out of his mouth sending him down to the ground. Krillin were given on up of him, drops his pants, and brought a pent-up fart in his face. Bacterian had gotten a flavor of his remedy, however Lazuli became blushing eyeing Krillin's ass. While Bacterian out bloodless, the body of workers quickly were given him out of the place and the building. Congratulations, Krillin. You served up your personal stink to place the smelly Bacterian down. Ray stated relieved. The subsequent spherical would soon start. It would handiest comprehend he'd be getting 10 minutes earlier than deciding to down a sport drink earlier than rushing again to the ring. I couldn't help but laugh watching Yamcha getting the crap kicked out of him by Jackie Chan. Bastard had the gall to cheer for my defeat and Bulma looked humiliated. Either way, I knew Nam had to fight Ranfan next and I was planning. In the end Nam wasn't going to win the tournament, but he did win the next best thing. Either way, after the Cuck lost the match to Jackie, the next match was called. Nam and Ranfan took to the arena and I had a mischievous plan brewing. You see, I do like Ranfan somewhat. However, doesn't he really stop me from calling her a bit of an insult to women fighters. Considering the lack of female fighters, she was one of the few who got screen time to fight. So, as a fan, payback was in order. So, the fight went on normal, and then it got her to stripping down to her underwear. Now was my time to strike. Making the smallest energy needle, I discreetly throw it. The aim nailed the clip that held the bra together which fell off her noble chest exposing her globes to everyone. Nam's jaw dropped and Ranfan shrieking screaming about not wanting to go that far. I took a photo with my black tab for the memories. She covered up and was a bit panicked. What happened next was something. Tripping on her feet, she fell out of the ring on her face and knocked herself out from the fall. It was a miracle she went down on her chest. Ray called the win for Nam and I came down to congratulate him. Now go pick her up and carry her to be treated. I said to him. Nam paled and I spawned a stack of zini bills waving it. Damn it. You are lucky I need that money. Nam said snatching the bills out of my hands. Nam, trust me. I said with a wink. Nam went over and did exactly as I asked. I had a smirk on my face leaving the area. Next was Goku and Jiren. By twisted luck, one of the monks informed me that due to the odd number of the fights, I'll fight the finalist. This pretty much cemented it for me. I was going to be fighting Chun after he defeated Goku, but I had an idea. I told the monk to inform Ray to keep that a secret. I wanted to surprise the old bastard. With the cannon spot secured, Ace was at ease. However, he still wanted to be ready. And so, he put on his weights again. Right on cue, rain came down and the match was postponed for the next day. Ace followed along with the tournament fighters to a nearby restaurant. Meanwhile, Nam was waiting for Ranfan to wake up. He did feel guilty for looking and wanted to apologize. He also felt bad for winning almost. Fortunately, Ranfan's concussion was minor and just needed some herbs to heal. She soon awoke to find Nam meditating. Oh, it's you. Ranfan said as he opened his eyes. Yes, it is. I wanted to wait for you to apologize. Nam said. After I carried you in, I waited. Wait, you carried in here? How sweet. She said earnestly. And no need to apologize. Wasn't your fault, it is just a faulty bra. She sighed as she got up, not realized she was still only in panties. Nam nearly fainted and she couldn't help but laugh at his innocence for the most part. What, you don't have women in your village? Ranfan said jokingly. Not like you. Nam said unintentionally flirting. Ranfan had its mole blush on her face as she snagged up her clothes that were brought in by a monk who told them the next match was postponed due to rain. Nam and Ranfan wound up going to the same nearby restaurant only to walk into a near brawl. That Ace was in the middle between Jiren and Yamcha with Rakure raised. Jackie helped Ace defuse the situation, to which Ace saw Nam and Ranfan. So you two are on a date now? Ace teased. Nam blushed as Ace came up to Nam, telling him that the match isn't tea until tomorrow. Ranfan let out a chuckle, and Jackie-chan was a bit jealous. He came up in an attempt to hit on her, only to get punched by Ace and Nam into the wall, leaving him a crumpled heap. Protective much? Ranfan said, wrapping her arm around Nam's. How about we go elsewhere? We can get to know each other without the distractions. Nam agreed, and the two left with a smiling Ace feeling good about that. He turned to Jackie-chan and helped him up. Sorry Chan, I had to. You were being a cock-block. Ace said mirthfully. Ace did feel hypocritical for saying that because he was actively being a cock-block for Roshi and Yamcha. That's no issue. Quite the punch though. Jackie said to him. Ace thanked him before buying his own meal. Ace turned to Goku, wishing him luck on the next match. So Ace, who will you be fighting? Goku asked. Consider it a surprise. Ace said. Either way, I am heading out. You'll be fine on your own. Goku nodded, and Ace took off on Kageyama. Still in the restaurant were Opal, Lazuli, and Lapis. Lazuli was congratulating Krillin on his match. You were so cool. Lazuli said with a small bit of squee. Oh come on, sis. He farted on him to win. Did you even see Chan? He was so badass. Lapis mused. Well, I am proud all three of you are going down to the finals. Opal said, taking a sip of sweet sake. Well, I am a bit nervous about fighting Chan. Krillin admitted. Smooch. A light kiss on the cheek from Lazuli took away all the nervousness. Lapis rolled his eyes, going to waltz over to Jiren for his autograph. Lapis was going to get the autograph of all the fighters for 21st Budokai. He already got Nam and Ranfan earlier, and saving Ace, Goku, and Krillin for last. Krillin looked over at Chan and got an idea. He beckoned to talk to Opal in private. Leaving Lazuli in the restaurant, Opal and Krillin go outside in the nearest alley. Opal, I have an idea on how to beat Chan. But I need your help. But what I am going to ask you for is a bit embarrassing. I need your panties. I'll hold into them and toss them out of the ring. Knowing him, he'll go after it. Krillin said, clearly awkward about the whole ordeal. Well, that's some idea. Not bad. Tell you what, I'll give you the ones I am wearing now tonight. Just don't tell anyone where you got them from. Opal said sweetly. Krillin nodded, and they returned to the restaurant. Elsewhere, Ace had drove an empty lot to train in the rain. Jiren's gum shooting abilities gave Ace an idea. Why not constitute weapons out of ki? He sat in a meditate pose and began to think. He knew this technique would take time, and so he started small with a simple throwing star. Outstretching his hand, he focused on molding his ki into the shape of it. This took a mere minute as his hand glowed and a glowing green shuriken in his hand. Ace opened his eyes and smiled. He threw it at the wall. After it made impact, it disappeared. Ki construction. A perfect name. It feels so good to invent a technique. I am actually glad for the Naruto world being here, because I never would have thought shuriken. Ace said to himself. He found himself able to make 3 in each hand as he practiced his aim. An hour later that, he moved up to Pune. He trained this ability until night came. I found my limit to be going up to creating staffs. I also discovered I could coat Rakure in it. Speaking of my sword, I remember I did wish for it to have elemental powers. I wonder if ice, lighting, earth, and so forth are on the table. Either way, I put Rakure back in sheath and get on Kageyama. I took off for the tournament grounds. Why? I had to inform Ray of this new power. I had to make sure that it's legal under the rules. They had me demonstrate in front of the judges, and it was cleared. As long as I didn't kill anyone with it, it was all fair. I leave with a bit of an evil smirk. I couldn't wait to wow the crowd and scare Roshi. I rode back to the hotel. Funny that even in the multiverse, the Marriott exists in the dragon world. Funny considering my father worked at one back home. Going up to the floor where my room was to find Krillin leaving Opal's room with a pair of panties. Eyebrows raised, I wait for Krillin to go his room before knocking on Opal's door. She opened to see only a bathrobe which highlighted her ample body. Did you and Krillin just? I asked. Oh no. Lazuli wouldn't he be so happy about it. I just gave the Gaki my panties to use in his fight with Chun. She explained nervously. Oh yeah, Krillin had panties as a secret weapon. I guess the minor plot hole on where he got them from was filled. This gave me an idea. You do know, Krillin isn't he going to win? Even with your panties. I said. Care to wager? Opal's hands came to her hips. Gaki, I am a betting woman and I always win. Opal said proudly. I have the luck of the blessed. Care to put to your money where your mouth is? I said gazing her over. All right, Gaki. I see you eyeing me. This bandit girl still got it. She said with a smirk. Tell you what, if Krillin lose, I'll give you a special gift of mine. You'll have to swing by the island to get it though. And I'll offer to teach you to do this. I said, constructing an energy kunai in my hand. Freaky. It's a bet. Opal said with a smirk. She closed the door and I was laughing. If she only knew. I go into my room, shower, and use my black tab to make 5 duplicates of my G to put in my backpack. I put my sword on the desk, my black tab to charge, and Kageyama back in its capsule and in my backpack. In pajamas, I climb into the bed. I had a long day tomorrow. The next day was intense. Watching Goku fight Jiren was breathtaking. Goku had grown back his tail and broke Jiren's merry-go-round gum. I was watching to learn how to perform Jiren's gum attack. I had a feeling if I learned the technique, mine would be a hell of a lot stronger. So, after Goku, next up was Krillin and Roshi/Chun. I prevent Yamcha was accusing Chun as Roshi by joining in the song and dance number with Chun and Goku. Soon after, the interview about the turtle school went fine and canon went on its way. The match was soon to begin. I was smirked because I already knew the outcome, so I took to the lounge to eat a meal and do some warm-ups. Krillin was struggling against Chun, and the bald monk knew he was too strong to fight head-on. Ace came out to play commentary alongside Ray. And so, Krillin pulled out the secret weapon. Opal was hoping it worked as Krillin threw it on the ground. Chun wanted the panties and thus dashed for them. Only to get kicked by Krillin out of the ring. Opal was ready to claim victory, only to get Chun use a Kamehameha to blast himself back into the ring. Opal's smile fell and Ace took the mic from Ray. And it's all over, folks. Ace said. Ace, you dick? Krillin said before Jackie Chan gets behind Krillin using an afterimage. His karate chops hit both sides of Krillin's neck, sending him crashing to the ground face first. Ray made the count and Krillin was outed. Jackie Chan was declared the winner. Goku helped Krillin up. You did well, Krillin. Goku said. I'll beat him for you, buddy. I agree that he did well. Jackie Chan remarked. Yamcha came out to accuse Chun of being Roshi only to get a brick tossed at his head from out of nowhere. Yamcha went down and Ace played innocent. The medics had to drag the unconscious Yamcha away. The next fight was set to be Goku versus Nam. Nam seemed more relaxed in this fight. I guess feeding his village and Ranfan cheering for him broke some of the serious in it. He still lost, but he took it in stride. I had congratulated him and Goku for a good fight. Good luck in the finals, Goku. Nam said as Ranfan came up to congratulate them as well. The finals were soon to come and Chun and Goku were to fight, but I pulled Jackie Chan aside. Considering yourself lucky, it was me to knock out Yamcha to prevent him from blowing your secret. Ace remarked. Roshi's eyes widened that Ace fully knew he was, and Ace admitted he knew the entire time. I can sense it as you, and I do. Why you redoing it? You don't want Goku, Krillin and myself to grow egos the size of planets. You want us to keep getting stronger, and trust me, I will. I might know and have a chance at beating you. However, I want to be at the top after I beat you. This world, beyond this planet, have people stronger than you. I said with the utmost seriousness. Roshi was stunned and could only nod. He went up for the arena to fight Goku. This was the fight I was waiting for painstakingly to see. Being able to see this match was awesome itself, and I was recording with my black tab. Why? Because I have no intention of letting that stain Hercule get far in the future. I couldn't help but squee watching their clash. Their Kamehamehas came together as well. However, it did seem that Goku had the advantage for the entire fight. Then came the after-image fight, and then drunken boxing versus Crazy Monkey. When night fell, I whipped on my sunglasses. I already had the contact lenses on to block out the blood waves from the moon, but the shades were my cover. I watched on, being all casual about it. I promptly said I could transform like Goku, but I had my shades on to prevent trolling those people when I took off my shades to wipe them. Speaking of the great ape, and like Goku, I could control the transformation. Warping willpower makes that easy to do. In the end, Kanon caught up, and after all that happened, Goku had lost the fight. Of course, the arena was wrecked and Roshi looked like hell. Oh GG, don't forget you have to fight me in the final round. And I am stronger than Goku, I said with a foxy grin. Something strange occurred though. I expected a fight, but instead he forfeited. I was pissed because I wanted to fight him, but he had to puss out. How anticlimactic. I huffed. Well, it doesn't matter, the world champion is Ace Member Blackthorn, Ray said as everyone cheered for me. Sean, you dick. I'd kick your ass, but I'd rather save my frustration for the next unlucky bastard who'll piss me off, I said, calming down. That was a close one, Goku, and I must admit my victory was only due to our sizes. My legs are longer, so I could hit much deeper on that last flying kick. Sort of a cheap trick, but it was my only chance, and it was for your own good. Maybe you'll thank me someday, when you're older, Master Roshi thought. Ace had gotten the prize money, which didn't really excite Ace. Considering he could spawn Zeni like toilet paper, this was a hollow victory. I defied Ace, but I am too pooped to fight him now. Considering he gets the lesson I wanted to instill in Goku and Krillin, there's no need. Plus, I'd rather not exert myself any further. I had a feeling he has already surpassed me, Roshi thought as Ace put back on his weights. Ace now stood as the youngest champion of Wamut, and he asked for the fighters for a group photo. Nam, Ranfan, Jiren, Yamcha, Krillin, Goku, Jackie-chan, and Ray all gathered around as Ace spawned a tripod out of his black tab. Ace refused to have Bacterian in his photo or near him. To a good fight. Ace setting the timer on his black tab, now on the tripod. Rushing into the center, he set himself in a pose before the black tab's camera went off. Overall, Ace had a great time despite being blue-balled. Ace did know that next up was the Red Ribbon Army, and he was glad his black tab was building something in cyberspace. A bit of insurance for Drive Jero in the future. Of course, at the moment, Ace cared to treat all his friends to a meal at a local restaurant. Too bad Jiren, Nam, and Ranfan left soon after the photo was taken. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel for more.